Welcome to the Laugh Support Podcast with your hosts Michele VanDusen and June Colson, a couple of clean comedians here to support each other and others through comedy's wacky and winding roads. They'll talk about highs and lows and some traumatizing shows. So get ready, get set, let's go! Well, all right. Welcome to the Laugh Support Podcast, brought to you by the Hot Breath Comedy Network. I am your host, June Colson, here with my best friend and co-host, the amazing Michele VanDusen. Hello, Michele. How you doing, friend?
Wow. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the question over all the crowd shouting out my name. What was that?
We have to clear the security out of the room. Michele VanDusen's here. Super important person. Hey, so we both had some crazy stuff happen this weekend because we're just such good moms. We now have we have our college graduates. So tell me about your son. What did he graduate with?
A bunch of other people. He graduated out of engineering. He was studying engineering, so he graduated out of that. Electrical engineering was his concentration, or something like that.
Nice. And my kiddo just graduated with his degree in accounting. So nice. We're looking forward to him being wise enough to steal all of our millions one day. You know that. I think count them.
Yes, he can count the millions. Yeah,
he can. I think that's the end game for him. No, he's pretty smart. He's like, if my parents do have money, I'll be filing their taxes for them. My little brother will not have a clue. and he can handle that business, right? So, hey, today you got him. You got him, Michele VanDusen.
Yes.
Our guest today, I don't know how many episodes we're in, but, more than 2 and less than 40, probably.
Well, I don't know. We're less than 20. We're less than 20 episodes. And soon we're going to be going live. So I'm really excited that we got Earl. We got Earl with before that. Yay!
Yeah. So we've interviewed several people, several of our friends, but you were so hype. I haven't met this specific guest before until just a moment ago. But I've heard amazing things about him, and he has such a great reputation among Christian comedians. And I know that you're a fangirl. You love this man. So why don't you tell us about it? Who's on the show today, Michele VanDusen?
All right. So today we have Earl Musick, right? He's a professional cartoonist. He's a humorous illustrator. He's a comedian. He's a spokesperson. He's a ghostwriter. Woo. And this, I love this part. He was a former artist and photographer for the FBI. Right. Are we allowed actually to say that? Right? I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe we disappear. If we disappear after this episode, did you guys know what happened, Michele?
Yeah. And Earl has traveled all through America and Canada, and he does humor and motivational skills. He's an amazing guy. I can't wait for you to meet my amazing friend. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm so ready.
Okay, so welcome audience members. Welcome Earl Musick to the Laugh Support. Woo!
Hey! Ladies. Congrats on the grads. That's great. Good job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's good parenting right there.
I know our listeners can't hear, but I'm actually wearing a shirt that you created for the CCA, and it's they all have graduation caps on.
Michele, cool. I hope our listeners can hear. They couldn't see, but hopefully.
It's been a long week.
Yeah, I don't know. The way we're doing this podcast, we might be the world's only silent podcast. Kind of like the ghostwriter that we have today. People won't know it's us because we're silent ghosts.
You guys are fun already.
Thank you. Oh, I totally forgot to put my earbuds in. See, we are so professional at what we do. We're amazing.
I think this is Michelle's way of tricking me into asking the first question because I was going to have her do that today.
But no. Before you do that, wait. Let me put my earbuds in. Okay.
Can I phone a friend if I don't know the answer?
Yes. Yeah. I just want to say, before we get too far into stuff, I just want to show my non-listening audience. Wait, no, listening. Anyway, so what I'm doing is I'm holding up something that Earl created for me.
Mhm.
It's me, a true pack rat, and see, I'm packing rats in there.
I didn't see that before. Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah,
goodness. I didn't
it's
notice
true.
that.
Yeah, it's but the way he made the rats, they're almost like mice, but they are rats. And I love it because it was I had this idea and I'm like, oh, Earl, I need to hire you. He's like, what? I said, I want to be a cartoon, but I want to be I'm a pack rat. So I want to pack these rats into a suitcase. He's like, gotcha. And boom, he did it. So
You're a
you
good
are
model.
you are so talented. And then,
Thank you.
when Earl and when we would attend the CCA, and if I sat near him, and if I just slid my book over by him, my notebook, he just out of the kindness of his heart would draw the greatest things,
Oh my
and
goodness.
yeah, look at that. And so you're
Those
gonna
were
have
fun
to,
sketches for you and me to hide.
but I love it. It's my favorite. I'll just out just so I can see it. And see if you notice, I didn't tell our listening audience what you drew. The beautiful cartoons. They're going to have to tune into YouTube to watch when we post this to see the amazing artwork of Earl Music.
Thank
Way
you.
to.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Okay. Now ask the first question.
So, Earl, our podcast is called Laugh Support. And basically, we just kind of dive into, Michelle and our relationship actually began because she was one of the first people to support me when I got into Christian comedy. And as I was starting to write and develop material, she just came alongside me one night and was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And she actually just helped me tighten up a set and give me enough confidence to get on the stage for the very first time. And so that's kind of the origin of this podcast, is that we started through someone being my laugh support. And so we like to ask our guest, when you began doing comedy, or it could even be your artistry, who was somebody that you look back and go, man, that was one of my first laugh supports?
Okay. I'm kind of weird because I do the speaking, the cartoons, and the comedy. But I got to tell you a story about Michelle. I went to my first Christian Comedy Association, and I didn't know anyone. I talked to a few people on the phone, and I step into the hotel lobby, and she grabs me, and she goes, "You look like a comedian. Come here." And she didn't even wait for me to say, "Yes, I'm here for the convention." And she pulls me over and starts introducing me to everybody. So that was great support. You get that nerves, like, you stand in front of hundreds of thousands of people, but you all strangers that you have to spill your guts to. And she made me feel so comfortable. But probably I have to go back to cartooning. And Charles Schultz, the Peanuts creator, him and I were good friends.
Oh, wow.
And he would talk to me about cartoons, and I become friends with the Mad Magazine artists, and just on and on. So I became an officer in a cartoon society. And so I began to speak for that, and I was going out speaking to schools and everything. And then Kiwanis and these other groups would ask me to speak. So I would draw, and then I'd turn around and tell a short story, or I draw and tell a story. And eventually I turn around a little bit more and a little bit more. And I just stepped out and started doing comedy. But my shows ended up turning out to more of a production, more of it's not just a comedy show. I would draw and bring people on stage and sketch them on stage, and just had a lot of fun with it. So I had so many people, but first I didn't want anybody to see me drawing, but then I started doing caricatures at festivals and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you just get more and more relaxed, more comfortable with, this is me, take it or leave it. And I would draw people. So my stage fright, I was scared to death in high school. 10 people would terrify me. And I've done shows in front of 3,000 people, and I'm dancing and singing. It does, and I know that's all God. I know that's the Lord, and praying about it. But the more you step on stage, it's the more comfortable you get with it. And like Justin Fennell, he was my early mentor, and he pulled me in and kind of worked on a show to make it more of a program instead of a show, I guess. I would talk about working for the FBI. I also was hired by the top executives of Disney to write and draw for Disney. So I would share stories from the FBI to Disney, and I was an artist for the Postal Service, and my stuff was nationwide for them. So I touched the business aspect, I touched the cartoon aspect, and I got to do shows in front of preschools to retirement homes. And the preschools and retirement homes yell me to draw SpongeBob, draw SpongeBob. So you go to church and youth events and you draw Scooby and you get their attention and then you tell them about Jesus. So it's been so many people. And Michele had said she may ask me about who had helped me. I got to work with legends of comedy, and Eddie Brill and Jerry Carroll and Rick Roberts and Dobie Maxwell, just on and on. I thought I don't want to start listening to them because so many people have helped me, and I love people. And when I become a fan, but it's so cool when your heroes become your friends. And that happened in cartooning too. Charles Schultz, for crying out loud. I still speak with his wife frequently, and he would tell me, "Earl, give me a call, give me a call." That was my hero, and that started happening in the comedy too, where I do a show and somebody would like it and call me or ask me to do more shows. It's so hard to pinpoint, but Michele really does. Honestly, I really appreciate that. Really sticks out in me, the CCA, when you grab me and pull me aside. Okay, let's do it. It was just a good feeling.
Yeah.
Good.
Long answer for a short question. Sorry.
No.
That was fantastic. You mentioned how you've done like you drew Scooby, and you draw all these different things, and people are like, oh, do SpongeBob, and then you could just do it like that. Like that to me is an amazing talent. And I did notice over the last year on Facebook that you started creating. You would draw yourself in like these old TV shows, and it brought so much joy to so many people. They started. It's fantastic. I love it. So if anyone ever wants to look at any of your gallery, they need to go to your website and check it out because you're uber talented. And
can I jump in there? My best friend is kind of in charge of the Minions. He's not the guy who created it, but he's the writer, producer, director of the little Minions. You know what I'm talking about? The little guys that you drew. And him and I were talking, and he says, like, you talking about drawing and stuff. That's nothing for us. I love to watch other cartoonists draw. But he says, we're like magicians. We're people who don't do it. It's like magic. To us, it's just we're just spilling out what we do.
Yeah.
And she's talking about, I was traveling 48 weeks out of 52 a year. I was on 59 airplanes in less than 3 months. COVID. So seeing thousands of people and getting 100 hugs a week to nothing but the drawing board. And I was a full-time artist for the Postal Service and speaker, and I would freelance for the FBI for 30 years. And then I retired from that last year, and I was sitting there. So I quit traveling. I quit doing time for them. I was ready to explode with creativity. So I said, I'm sitting here. I need to draw me some friends. So I drew the Friends characters. I drew me on the couch with them.
Yeah.
That was kind of fun. So I did, some other shows, and people lit up, and people from those shows started contacting me. And I don't want to draw names, but actors from the shows would say, "Hey, I saw your Facebook," and then people who were involved backstage of the show. This is really cool. I always tell people, my wife gets the checks. I get the thrill of saying, "Hey, look." But,
Wow.
I did 30 or 40 of them in a row, one each day. And it got so big. And then I was getting a lot of art jobs coming in then, and art kind of took over. I had to slow down. But I've done 70 of them, I think, within this last year. But it's a fun. And then Andy Bedingo, you guys probably know him. He's
I love Andy.
He goes, do Seinfeld. So I drew Seinfeld, and I drew him in the back. He's at the bar eating with Seinfeld. So I started throwing people in there, and I was just doing it for fun. And then people were buying the prints and ordering, I'll pay you this to draw me in, whatever. So it's just exploded. And then it's just a new angle. So like
Yeah.
God shut the door to me traveling,
Mm.
and thank the Lord I'm making more money in my pajamas.
No.
I'll give the money back if I can hit the hugs again, because I miss the smiles, I miss
Oh, yeah.
the hugs. That means a lot to me.
That's amazing too,
Yeah.
is that I think too is, the Lord kind of rewarded you for the gift that you had been giving people, having that talent. I just find that so intriguing that the first drawing like that you did was friends.
Yeah,
And he was like, here, I know you're lonely. You can draw your own friends right now. And the
yeah,
pictures are, I've glanced through and seen them, but I want to go back and look again, because the ones that I've had time to really like study, it is that there's all these extra little details in it. And I
Yeah.
think the Golden Girls, the one that I saw recently, had like the t-shirt that you had on, had the name of the a retirement village or whatever that they're living in, right?
yeah. I tried to throw something like, people were getting a kick out of that, so I put little Easter eggs around it, as we call it in the art world.
Yes.
And I started throwing my friends, and then I had a contest about 3 or 4 times. I said, "Tell me your show," and I drew somebody at random, and I drew them in the show with me. So if you go back and look, there's some strange faces. That's people who won the contest, who they like.
Oh.
One lady liked Bewitched, and I just drew in her Bewitched with me. So that was fun. That was like people traveling with me in the cartoon. I call it music TV dream cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now
That's
I know
fantastic.
a couple years ago when I was at my dad's, I pulled up the farming ones. Like, don't you do something like with cows and pigs
Yeah.
and stuff?
Yes.
M-
I'm
My
I'm a
dad
freelance
loved those.
cartoonist. Thank you, Michelle. It's weird, like I was under contract with Disney, but pretty much now it's freelance. So each week it's something different. Like the FBI still could call for something fun, and the post office still contracts me to do stuff on a contract basis. But this week I got to do 2 magazine cartoons, 3 caricatures. I'm doing a map for a local business who have a big facility. Um, and I'm doing, as I say, 10 T-shirts. I think I got to design. So it's just each week something different, and then it's exciting to see. It's a Christian thing. I'll go ahead and tell you. People tell me when I do comedy and cartoons, don't tell them you're Christian, because Hollywood will quit calling. Hollywood will not call.
Mhm.
Mm.
I don't care. I tell everybody I'm a Christian. The only call I really want to hear is a call from God. So if he tells them keep going, I'm a Christian cartoonist who does Christian comedy and clean comedy, and phone stops ringing. I don't care. I'm just going to be having
Yeah.
fun and doing what God wants me to do. So
Now I wanna put up here the when we contacted you earlier this year to tell you that we were doing a podcast, and I want to know if you could do our picture. So we hired you, and check this out. This is so good. You
thank you.
nailed us perfectly, because June's tall
Yes.
and I'm short, and I have a way bigger smile than June does.
You guys are beautiful models. Beautiful models.
So I
I
just go ahead, June.
I was so excited when I saw my eye color, because I have hazel eyes, and they're different all the time. They're blue and they're green and they're gray, and it's my favorite when I wear something and my eyes look gray. I had a family member that had gray eyes, and I always thought, man, I wish they would just stay gray all the time. And the color that you drew of my eyes, I was like, even my husband, that age old, like, if you love me, you can tell me the color of my eyes. And my husband's like, no one knows the color of your eyes. And
Well,
I'm like,
good.
well,
Good.
Earl knows my favorite color of my eyes. Oh, it was such a thrill. I've never had, other than in Nashville, Tennessee, there used to be a theme park called Opryland.
Mhm.
And it's so funny, because just recently we moved, and I was going through this stack of picture frames, and I pulled one apart, and behind it was one of those caricatures that I had done when I first started dating my husband. And it was at Opryland. And when they said, well, what do you want to be drawn in? And he's a fireman. And I said, ooh, because I was going to give it to my boyfriend. I said, will you draw me in like fire gear? Like I'm the firefighter. and it's horrific. Like it's the the fire gear looks good, but like this was not anything to be. My son was crying, laughing. He was like, "That's supposed to be you when you were a teenager, and is that really what you look like? Like, Dad dated you looking like that." Yes. So that's the only experience I've had of someone drawing, and like my nose, you've got my nose, like my nose, I have no cartilage in my nose. Like you can, like I said, I grew up in a really rough neighborhood. So God knew I might need to take a punch. So I could get punched in the face and you couldn't break my nose. It's just a rubber nose. And like you designed, I was like, that's my little rubber nose. And I don't know. So it was so cool. It gave me so much joy to see that when Michele sent it. I was like, look at us. Look at us. That's us.
I love Nashville, one of my favorite cities. And the last time I was there, I was hired to a corporate event to do caricatures just for a couple hours to sit there, and I sit there for 8 hours straight, caricature after caricature, about 5 minutes a piece it takes me to do for 8 hours with one bathroom. I said, just a minute, I run to the bathroom, come run back and sit back down and kept on. But it was fun, but you always worry. Okay, this is the way her nose looks. Should I lighten it up a little bit?
Yeah. I don't want you to draw.
I don't exaggerate. I try to do exactly. I try to do that. And I tell people it's somewhere between a Scooby-Doo drawing and an FBI sketch. I kind of meet you in the middle. I don't do the exaggeration stuff so much. It's like you robbed the bank. That's what you look like.
I'm just glad you don't draw hips. You know what I mean? I like you. This is the good look of my hips right here.
There's not enough paper in the world to draw my hips. I'm just saying.
Girls.
Oh yeah. So Earl, so you have mentioned some amazing people, obviously the Charles M. Schultz and Eddie and Dobie and Rick Roberts and it's definitely not like the podcast. We're not like list everyone who ever did anything for you. So we're not leaving anyone out. We're just mentioning some people who were there for you as laugh support. And obviously you have had a lifetime of experience and knowledge and talent. Has there been an opportunity for you that you've been able to kind of support that next artist, that next comedian, that next cartoonist? Have you been someone's laugh support?
I think so. I do pray for that. And I speak at a lot of schools, so I'm able to give the FBI don't do drug speech. I've seen a lot of bad things, involved with, and some wonderful people get wrapped up in drugs so quick. And that kind of speech, and I get to do the churches, so I talk to them about Jesus and lead them that way. And but one of the Mad magazines, Mort Drucker, he's amazing, did the caricatures for Mad magazine. Him and I sat down, and I actually did a caricature of him. Was hanging in his studio. He's passed away now, but what an honor. But he said, I showed him my drawings, and he was flipping through it. And he goes, Earl, let me tell you something. Art is so over. He said, what you do is find 3 things you want to do. And he said, mention 3 things. So I was like, greeting cards, magazine cartoons, and comic strips. He says, send a batch of greeting cards in and forget about it. Go to comic strips and forget about it. And just do each step and then start over. But thank the Lord I hit all 3, and then I started doing other creation and other stuff. So I tell people that you just do it and don't put all your eggs in one basket. You work on something else. And with the comedy, so many people have stage fright is the biggest thing. I encourage people to get up. I pull people on stage who I know are scared and try to help them. I talk for them if I have to, and just try to encourage that. But when you reach honestly, every dream God's given me, I've got to do, and I feel so blessed and so undeserving of it. I honestly, I don't know where I would go next, but helping other people reach their dreams is even more special. My nephew was 7 at the time, and the post office hired me to do a drawing that was going to go to every post office in the nation in Puerto Rico. So it was a coloring page. And my nephew wants to work for the FBI. He wants to be an artist. So I said, here, let's do this. So I had him draw. What it was is during COVID. And so I was doing this coloring pages about every hero doesn't wear, capes. And I was drawing a mail carrier coming up to the window. And these kids were doing signs. So I had my nephew draw a picture of a mail carrier. So I did a caricature of my nephew holding his actual drawing in the window. So I put him in the window of it. My 7-year-old nephew was seen by millions of people. I did TV interviews. I did postal interviews about it. So I said, okay, put this on your resume. millions of people saw my drawing on TV, and every post office in the nation got it. And that
Wow.
was such a thrill for me. Big deal. I'd done that. My cartoons were all over the place. But now my 7-year-old nephew, just smile on his face. Look, it's me. Look, that's my cartoon. That's cool. When you can help somebody else do any other thing, especially comedy. When I saw people who were scared to death, we'd pray backstage and they'd go up, at, especially at the Clean Comedy Challenge and stuff. A lot of people had never taken the stage before, and we'd pray and talk them up and get them up there. And Michelle and I, we know we've seen that fear in people, and some people never taken the stage for it. And to have to be that brave, to stay, somebody support you in the back, that's a great feeling. That's I've done interviews with every network. My stuff has been on NBC News, and I've been on Good Morning America and all that stuff. And it's after a while, I'm not a big celebrity or anything, but that means nothing until you see somebody else's face smile that you created. That's cool. That's cool right there.
I just want you to know, during this podcast, I took the time to sketch you. So I hope it really covered. Yeah. I got 2 eyes on there, a nose, 2 ears, and a smile. You're welcome. So,
that's
send that to me, please, Michelle.
Yeah,
I'm glad you said that was Earl. I thought for a second that might have been me. It was hard to it was hard to tell. Hey, you mentioned the greeting cards, and let me tell you, you posted the other day about is it Mississippi, Laurel, Mississippi?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the hometown show on HGTV. I'm telling you, every woman from age 30 to probably 50. That's your celebrity status right there. I was like, what? He's got cards, and Aaron. Is it Aaron and Ben? Yeah. I love that show. They're so endearing. That show is so endearing. And how cool is that? So when you do these greeting cards, you don't know where they're going or where all they're being sold. And you had this moment, you walked in. Tell us about that.
Well, that was my wife loves it. I like that show too. My wife loves it.
It's so good.
We were traveling and we went there, and it's actually the gift shop beside Aaron's store. I mean, like the whole city is wrapped around that show. It's all set up like that. And we walk in, there's the rack, and my wife goes, "That's your brand, isn't it?" I said, "Yeah." I looked up, and the first card I saw was mine. I said, "Look at that!" That was pretty cool. So it was her birthday, and I had to buy the birthday card and give it to her.
So you had to buy an actual card that you designed to give to your wife. Oh my goodness. That is so cool. That is so cool.
It's fun,
oh my goodness. Well, it looks like Michelle dove out on us. I bet she's having 100% heart attack somewhere right now, but that's okay. But that's all right. We'll keep this thing going. I'm watching the time. We got a couple minutes left. Oh, there she is. Michelle, were you being sneaky, or did you just have a heart attack in the back room somewhere?
No, no. My dog was barking, and I've been waiting for her to wake up. She's very old and she's on her own schedule.
Yes.
And so she's barking and barking. I'm like, okay, she hasn't gotten up yet. And then her barking stopped. That meant she was eating. And then that last bark she just did, she's like, I need to get out and go to the bathroom. So I'm like, now I'm going to take myself off and go do it.
Yes.
Talking about the greeting cards, and I was actually a speaker for the Postal Service. I was speaking for the post office. And we had to make some copies. That I was traveling and I wasn't any near one. So I ran into a FedEx store and they had my greeting cards. I was there for the post office, and FedEx is selling my greeting cards. I just felt like I needed to take a shower. It just didn't feel right.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Well, this has been such an amazing interview. Do you have anything coming up or anything that we can promote for you, Earl, that you would like to share with the audience?
Check me out on Facebook and Instagram. And if you like some of the drawings, please let me know, because those TV show ones are just for fun, just to loosen up. I'll draw those before I do the paying jobs, as my wife would say. But just let me know what you think, and let me know a TV show you'd like me to hit. Like I said, I hit 70 of them, but I'd like to do some more people like to see. I had kind of backed off of booking shows for a while, just to make sure. I wanted to refresh my show and do some things. And then I was lucky enough to win the Spirit, the Clean Comedy Award. and people
Yeah.
started calling again and asking to book. And I got some people I got to tell today if I'm going to do the shows or not. But just I know once I hit, I don't like to slow down. I don't get a lot
Yeah.
of sleep. I draw on the road, and it's been kind of nice to get a little breather from traveling constantly. But I do miss it, so I'm getting ready to gear back up. So I don't have any shows that I can post right now that are confirmed. But check me out on Facebook. I like to hear from everybody.
Now, on your website at earlmusic.com, it is so cool. You have the video, I think your son did. You were drawing, and then there's music. Is it the cartoon? If Cartoons Got Saved, is that the song that was on there?
Right, that was it. Chris Rice did that cartoon, and when they did the voices, I don't know if you guys remember that song. Michelle apparently does. They do like Fred Flintstone. So my son is for a college or high school project. It's been many years now, but so he played that song. That took one take. If you go look at it,
Wow.
one take. So it says,
Wow.
"This is the voice of Fred Flintstone." So I draw Fred Flintstone. Does Smurfs? So I draw Smurfs, and then if you listen to it, it's about 2 or 3 minutes long, but it was he edited it and put the timing a little bit right, but we did all that in one take. I was really proud of my son.
That's amazing.
Let's brag about my son. Thank the Lord. People say you travel all this time. What about the family? I've been happily married for 31 years. My oldest son is a pastor who's married to a pastor, and my youngest son is also working in the church ministry, and his wife works in the church ministry, helping homeless people and they're working for a mega church now. They're working with some other organizations, but thank the Lord, they're all in the ministry, and God, family, you guys, my friends, let's keep it straight.
That's really wow. So 31 years, and your son's in the ministry with his wife. That is,
Yeah,
you have
both of
such a
them.
great legacy, such a
Yeah.
great legacy, and that points back to you, Earl. It points back to
Yes,
your wife.
it keeps going back to my dad who had cancer, and when we found out it was way too late, and they're wheeling to the hospital when they're telling us it's way too late, and he hands me his Bible and he goes, "Earl, protect my sword." And
Wow.
can I finish with one quick story?
Yeah.
Yeah, please do.
My dad was an amazing man, and he died terrible, slow death of cancer, but it happened real quick. It was so painful. But when he knew that he had days to live, he'd call somebody to his bedside, and he died in October. And then the next Valentine's Day, flowers came from my mom with all my love, Ron. My dad made arrangements for my mom to get Valentine's Day flowers from him every year until the day she dies. He made arrangements and set that up. Thinking about her, he had a days to live. He set that up for her. That's the kind of legacy I have.
Wow. What a beautiful story. What a way to end that. And then now I'm just going to go and maybe punch my husband because he got me a dust buster, so that's what I got for Valentine's Day. Not the true romantic. Michele, are you on cloud nine after being able to have this interview with your amazing friend today? And I hope today from here on out, I get to call you my friend as well, Earl, because man, if there's a person on the planet I want to be friends with, it's definitely somebody like you. What a great interview today. Michele, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking that there's so many more stories with Earl that we haven't even got a chance to talk about, like getting shot at from the FBI. I'm just saying. There's so many really cool stories. I want to say thank you, Earl, for taking the time to talk with us, and I'm so glad that you were here to be able to bless our listeners with your talent and your stories and your heart. And I know that I've been changed because I got to meet you years ago at the CCA. And so I just want to say thank you. And now June has this way of closing out the show.
I do.
Yeah. And I don't know if she created one for you, but maybe she did. We'll find out. Because we're at our end of our interview. But I really just want to say thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
So Earl, I usually always close my shows and events that I'm at by saying Jesus and Junebug loves you. And then I wrote one for Michele, but she's never said it. Okay, and I'm gonna try and get her to say it today. But for Earl, would you say it, Michele? Oh, come
I don't
on.
know. Maybe.
Okay, if you say it, then I'll never ask you to say it again. If you say it today, I'll never ask you to say
Come
it
on,
again.
Michele.
Little Michelle and the Messiah tell you to reach it higher. Is that what it is?
She said it. She messed it up, but she said it.
Oh.
It's Lil Michelle and the Messiah tell you to take it higher. And she's refused to say it up until today. I don't know how many episodes we've done, but it happened. But now what do? I don't know. But I did write one for you, Earl. Are you ready? This is Earl's.
Okay.
Jesus and Earl paint the best murals.
All right.
There it is. Well, that's it for this episode of Laugh Support. We're so glad to have had you on today, Earl. I am June Colson, and this is...
I'm Michele VanDusen, and this has been another episode of
Laugh
Support,
because we never get it right at the end. Bye, y'all.